with, well, just looking at the sun sign astrology. Sagittarius, sun. You know, Sagittarius has to do with fact collecting and cultural memorabilia and storekeep of intellectual accomplishments, especially the writings. And so then religion is all up into it, and higher education, really, and all forms of that. Geologically, that's what it rules, is the massive Earth awareness of, perhaps, of something, whatever it is. It rules teachers. Jupiter, the benefits of knowledge, real knowledge. So Sagittarius is onto something, and it's it's pretty religious. It's religious. It's the sun. The sun is making this trip, and Sagittarius is very outdoorsy. Like I said, geological. It rules the geologics of Earth. Sagittarius just love the outdoors. It rules camping in the outdoors and hanging out on the earth and all of the ambiance of figuring out how to self-sustain, really, because it points at cultures on the land having figured out how to stay there, and then they gather more than that, they gather information and they hold it in just who they are and how they be. And it gets to be interesting, right? There's so many cultures. If they're not ruined, yeah, it rules. Talk about that. It kind of rules, Indians and cowboys and the camping out, the land, the mountainous areas is just Sagittarius. And so, well, we have Mercury, and I really wanted to talk about that trek of the sun. The sun right now is in Sagittarius, and then see what happens. It's okay. So I was just explaining how it's like, well, this is kind of, it's man burning his fire across the land, and about his understanding of the land also, and each other, culture, honoring that. It's very religious. It kind of points at the religious values of all cultures. That's what Sagittarius does represent. It rules long distance travel instead of short distance travel. Gemini, they're opposite. They rule the more short distance travel and little bits of information, but Sagittarius has the big, big information. Anyway, so having said that, the way the sun does. Now, mind you, we have a story about the sun. Baby Jesus is going to awaken or something, or come to save us, or whatever happened with the story in Jerusalem, Bethlehem. But, but really what we're looking at is the evolution of human consciousness, and that's what astrology points at when we go at the very beginning. To me, it says, because it's Mars ruled Aries that pokes right out very first. The big reminder is that, by the way, there's war here. This is a war ground, and you are going to be well aware of war. And what is it about? What is it? Well, let's look at Taurus. What is Taurus up there? It's a very, very vigorous Venetian move that says quality control. Quality control. We know we are, but what are we? Kind of a thing, because Aries says I am, and then Taurus moves on to that part of living, which is very laid back, and tastes the wine and says, you know what, this is the best. Well, because it is the best. It was aged the longest, or whatever grape, and they have taste down with every little thing. You want to go through the Taurian age, which we suspect is when the pyramids of Giza were up and running, and those things weren't sitting like limestone. They had jewels on them, shimmering gold at the top. Edges were quartz crystals, and the place was lined with rubies and stones and jewels. And the way that the people lived, we have no idea. That was the Taurian age, though, and you could suspect the Venetian ruled Venus doing the quality check. Well, they had it all down, babe. They had it all down. Even down to the structures that would just last and last and last, right? So Jim and I would collect all of that and kind of make hieroglyphs and stuff and collect it in little tablets or whatever and try to keep talking about what is happening here, about the quality of it. What have we found? The upper and lower. Gemini. So that opposes a Sagittarius, which keeps the logs. We talk about the forests out there where we are camping out and enjoying. I met somebody the other day who I could feel all this energy. We were at the water hole. There's a water machine in Idlewild, and I'm there like, they poisoned the water, and so I've been using that machine, and it tastes so much better than what's coming out of the tap. Anyway, rarely do I meet people there, really, but sometimes there's people there, boom, we just all of a sudden, and of course, we're going to talk a little bit. This one was interesting. She said she seemed like a loner, and she's all alone. And she said, well, I come up here I was walking around alone in the snow last winter. I loved it. And she was telling me how she's been through so much, right? We've all been through something in the last 3 years, and she lost a lot of people. But the main thing she says is, that's my God, my religion up there. That's my religion. It's the forest and the rocks and the trees. And I sit with God there. And she was very adamant talking about it. And I was like, yes, I understand. I hear what you're saying. Very Sagittarius. Very Sagittarius. And that's the truth. I mean, oh, God, if you knew. If you knew. See, even me sleeping in this cabin, and it's in the middle of the forest, that's the idea. I mean, I'm in the middle of the wilderness area, there's a creek, and up there is the ridge and the meadow, and it goes to an expanse of opening. Just that way, actually. A little entrance, because it's all weirded out with the grid on this side of the road and stuff, and the people are terrible, and I love people. No, I love people, but really, you give them a chance enough, and I don't say that until it's like checked off. Nope, can't be present. These people are the presentless society. But anyway, I had a conversation with that person. Talking about Sagittarius. See, what happens is like, okay, so our evolution is, and if we're knocked off kilter, and we are, it's kind of showing itself and it's going to realign us. But see, what happens, like, okay, we are, if we were knocked off kilter, and we definitely are, we wouldn't be here on this plane, trying to figure out just how to get on our bodies and then manage a harmonious situation that's decent for the kids to witness. By the time we get into Sagittarius, late Sagittarius, we have to deal with cutting down a tree. And then something says, and it's really, astrologically, it's a time of introspection. This time of year, you're supposed to shut the fuck up. Be grateful for what you have, yes. If somebody needs something, trade it about, because this is the time of introspection when the sun, talking about the sun coming to town, Jesus, or is it the sun? When the sun is moving, and in a lot of the hemispheres, the western anyway, it's moving down closest to the horizon, and it's not really rising that far up, and it's the shortest day of the year. It's cold, it's wintry, usually, tons of winter time going on, which it's not now. I'm thinking, well, what should I do? Go get some sun outside? It was hot yesterday. We call it Indian summer, though. We call it Indian summer. It'll happen in November or December, where it's 2 weeks of 80 degrees, and it's like, you know what? You better collect your wood and get it in. That's your chance right there to top it off, because you're going to get not just January, but February, March. It's a lot of times it's a big time winter time. Sometimes it snows in April. Anyway, we all know that song. Let's get back to the trek of the sun and Sagittarius and having a ball of out in the forest and being very connected that way. But see, the opposite is to get all religious and imagine your God, right? And then cut a tree down, bring it in, nearly burn your place down with that, perhaps. But see, then the tip over with Sagittarius we're getting close to it, right? At 28 degrees, that's the full capacity. It's like, what is it? We really don't know because it's been reversed and screwed up. Talk about it's supposed to be introspection. Did you build your igloo by now? Yes. The sun is going down low, and then it hits by the 25th. It hits its peak lowness, and I say like with Capricorn, keeping the vibe of the natural way of what's happening with the seasons and what we're supposed to be doing. A Capricorn would walk over to the cupboards while it's like deep snows and it's the coldest day of the year, and we everything has looking like it's died off since October, which is just harvest time. Everything has gone into autumn, and the leaves have gone all the way away. And it's looking pretty desolate, like, if you didn't know. And some people don't. I'm a gardener up here, and a kind of an arborist, freelance. And I was working for a multimillionaire, and she travels from uh, from France to here. She's always mainly in France, but then she'll come here every once in a while, like once a year, twice a year perhaps. And then she has a place in Malibu, on the coast of the beach here in California. And I remember she came here and she said, "Well, why the fucking trees are dead and the leaves are dead?" And I'm saying, "It's winter time. It's winter." She was about to blame me for the falling leaves and everything, and like I was a terrible gardener. And I'm like, as how some people are. She brings up what's equivalent to like a banana plant, a banana tree, and wants me to plant it. It's green and everything, and she just insists. And I'm like, well, it's not going to live up here though. It can't. She's done this with many plants, and she tried to blame me the first time. Now, this fucking thing died in what you were taking care of my yard. I'm like, babe, this is a tropical plant. It's not made to handle the climate up here. A lot of people are kind of like that. Have patience. And yeah, they go and they check it out. They won't listen to you, but they'll go check it out. Is it wintertime? Okay, I guess she's right. Anyway, yeah, it's wintertime, and so the sun's gonna come back up. See what a Capricorn would do is say, you know what? I think it's time that we light some more candles, the extra candles that we made, and let's give some to whoever. Let's see what we can use right now. Capricorn is about using. They say, I use. That's their words. I use. They're not saying I abuse, by the way. It's very materialistic. They are very like, what can we use with any of this? Like, what can we put together? They're probably putting together a wreath with some things, and let's make it good. In the middle of winter, they are very bringing up what's the word? God, I'm a Libra. Thrifty, I guess, but really it's the way that they will work. They work and store in the cupboards of things, and like from winter, from harvest, jars of things you open and you start feasting a little. That's kind of the idea behind Thanksgiving, which is not so far behind Christmas. Christmas is gnarly though, and it's not Christmas, babes. It's when the sun gets down so far that you think you're going to die, and that you think everything has died. But then the sun starts to rise again, and you celebrate. You say, you know what? We're going to make it. And you're saving your seeds to your fruits, and you're saving them, and you're dreaming. See, the introspection time, the time of the snows, is times of dreaming. You dream, especially now we're getting, see, I'm talking about wintertime, and it's covered with snow. By March, there's probably 3 or 6 feet of snow, and it's the time of dreaming. What you do, around here is, a lot of times it's not covered with snow. There's in between, and some of the snows melt off in between storms, and it's beautiful like that up here. We have a chance in between snows, and so what I do, and I've done, and what you're supposed to do, and what my grandma has us doing, is you plant seeds right before the last snow, when you know it's probably going to be the last snow, late March, maybe early March. But yeah, that's the time before the last major snows. Try to catch it before the very last snow. It's just plant seeds, grass, or whatever you want to grow from the ground up. And then when it snows the last time, it produces a perfect kind of, it just guarantees that those seeds are going to come up. You don't have to work too hard, you just kind of hit it at that time. But that introspection time, Pisces, when everything is like really, I love that time where you dream. Your imagination is most. It reminds me of the time when like you're the caterpillar, and you're now in the chrysalis, and you're not identifiable now as a caterpillar or a butterfly. You're just mush, and then rebirth happens. That's the spring. That's the spring of the I am that bursts out. Get out. And that's a whole other scene if we're talking about having made it. If you know a Pisces and they are your friend, like you get along and they're there for you, it's like you have a mystical creature, a dragon that comes from another dimension, and and you appreciate the association. It's not so much human. Because you know the human experience here, the illusion, the way everything's reversed, is so ridiculous. You cannot imagine that your friend there, Pisces, is a dragon from another dimension. It just says, "We're okay. Are you okay? I'm okay. It's all right. You're fine. I see that this is darkness. What the hell? Catch my rainbow. Imagine. What if you're just okay? Do you feel okay? How are you doing now? How do we feel? You know, the Pisces planets, I mean, the water signs. You can imagine, you know, because they are water ruled, talk about being a superior intelligence right there. It really kind of resets that way. And Cancers feel, they tell us how to reseed and, you know, perhaps get your shell ready for your introspection. It doesn't always just have to be. See, we're learning with the evolution of human consciousness, going through the zodiac from each other, and just as we go. And anyway, thanks for listening to this rant. I don't know what else to do. You know, I like to teach. I like to stimulate people's minds through just being here and communicating the possibility of what it is. You know, astrology just points at the possibilities that are already here, that are infinite, you know, but we already have things here, like, say, everything. What is it? Well, the metropolis. You want to talk about, continue to talk about Capricorn. Well, and you know, there is an influence that kind of overdoes things and reverses it and makes it look hideous. It's like, it's enough already. That's enough storing of, now you're storing people, and the whole human civilization just going to go underground now. And Capricorn is like, yes, money, and I'm going to store all information. The control freak over there that and says, and we'll trickle it out the worst type, and we're going to stay here with. Well, it's just strange. It's like, really, let's get rid of Capricorn now. Oh boy, I'm just kidding. Really, the negative side, right? We point at that with Pluto. In fact, it's going to go to 29 this month. And thank God it's going to get away from my Mercury this month at what? Oh my gosh, it's around the 21st. So, because then Pluto next month at the 22nd or 21st, it's really the 22nd of January, it's going to go into Aquarius, and then it's going to cruise. Let's see what Pluto does. It goes to 1 degree. By July, it's still at 1 degree. Uh-oh, it's going backwards. Oh no, my God. Believe this or not, kids, Pluto goes back into 29 degrees for the last time next year. Happens that it goes back into 29 degrees after hitting 1 degree. I didn't know that. So then it only happens from September 2nd all the way through October, and then by 21st, 19th of November of next year, 24th, it's going to be going into Aquarius, okay? Finally, it goes into Aquarius, and then boom, now we hit 2nd degree, February 25th, and then now it moves into 3 degree in April. of 25th, and we're now in. Thank you for going on that journey with me. A lot of changes are going to happen with that. You see, because we want to feel good. We want to feel good, and man, this is going to be a long video, but I'm going to want to talk about how that much of the Earth's population, and this is not a random subject matter that I'm about to pull up. I think I've been trying to talk about narcissism and what it really is, and then how do we get back? It's a big thing, you know. You look at it, it's like, well, we have higher learning tools here already to direct us into good feeling. It's important. Why? Because that's how we get everything into us in case we wanted something here. Kids, you want something? Feel good. Keep your keep the vibrational frequency on high. Smile at the universe and you get it back. That's the key to good living. See, now we point at, now, let's look back at Capricorn. It's kind of a joke about Capricorn that the good feeling kind of goes away. You know, I mean, look at it. We're actually, instead of doing Christmas and running around like this, you stupid idiots. By the way, why is it just one day that you have a Black Friday? Not feeling very secure? These people are like this, paranoid that they're going to run out and that there's not enough. And that's Capricorn. It's the money scene. And then what does money do for us? It really incubates that precise vibrational frequency. Oh, no, it's never enough, right? I mean, if you're not doing it right, it's never enough. Of course, it's never enough according to Bill. I'm thinking, all right, how much am I going to pay on this stupid fucking planet for electricity? Can I get it done right now? $30,000, thank you. Whatever it is, I have to pay. Just throw it at them and say, now, get away from me. I don't owe anybody anything. Stop making me worry. See, that's the thing about Capricorn. Do we have enough? And so, that kind of, the fact that we have enough, the fact that there's always enough, has lost us. And something pulls away our perception from how do we get it? Well, we stay feeling good, stupids. Kind of hard when it gets to be wintertime, or maybe you're sitting next to Capricorn over there and he's about to die, you know, the old man. Capricorn rules the old man. The old, negatively, it's like the old stuffy guy who, he does pinch his pennies. He seems to only wear that black and white shirt over there. And grandpa, and it's like, well, yeah, he gives money. If he's a narcissist, it's the worst, right? He's a control freak. He's fucking Satan Claus over there. I'm sorry, excuse me, hi, Santa Claus. Are you an alcoholic from hell, child molesting? No? Jesus does not like me now. Don't do that. I thought that was in Actually, that was the Roman Catholic Church beating on me. I was like, where? Jesus! Anyway, trying to get to fucking so-called Christmas time when the sun rises up at 3 degrees, finally at 3 degrees, Capricorn. Here it comes. It's just pointing at that. It's like, no, we're going to clamp down with our illusion of money doing everything for us. And it's like, no, it's your illusion of power and control over people who, what is it really? Now, I'm looking back at Libra. Somewhere along the lines, no, but really, let's look at Libra and go to its opposite, Aries. From the very beginning, somebody's being hijacked, I suspect. But let's get back to Libra, who says, I love. Huh? What happened to love? They're trying to tell us, and really it's I balance, and it's about our, Venus rules Libra, again with the Taurus vibration, but now it's concerning measurements of things, like our intellectual property. Like, let's really look at, like, us two, men and women, and our interaction, and then how rich we become through that maintenance, or just maintaining our human embodiment as love, because Libra actually says I love. But the rumor has it, babes, have you noticed? I mean, there's notes. Okay, so notes, I associate the notes with access to the universe, like money, access to the universe to be able to construct music or the universe or creation itself. But there's a shortage of notes. That's what we're supposed to believe. Libra is born, if you know any Libras prominent, it's not always born. My generation, pardon me, not always born into a rich family. Not always born into a, it's impoverished somehow. Now, if there's a lot of money, there could be a lot of abuse. There could be a lot of too much of something else going on that is leading to abuse, neglect, something missing. Bottom line, because it's not always about money, it's about energy. Getting back to Aries, who says, I am just the energy that just does it. I get restless if I can't do it. If I can't just move and I don't move and I see people hesitating and stuff, this makes me sick. Just get out and do it, and even if it's just playing a game or adventuring, blazing a trail, you'll find something. And Aries is like, why am I doing this? And they're out there in the middle of somewhere, especially nowadays when there isn't anything to find. It seems you can't really pioneer much of anything. It's not just physical pioneering. Aries, when you see the philosophers like Carlos Castaneda, I think there's a lot of other famous philosophers. Watch out for the philosophers. Watch out for the philosophers, especially men. That's all they can do. That's all that the mind can do, is come up with a philosophy behind what? An actual experience that you just got to get out of your mind to look into it. Getting back to Sagittarius, where we are now, talk about philosophy. They're full of it. Why? Because what about the reversed reality? It's like, well, we don't really need reversing, but how does that happen? We think that men rule the world. Solve that problem. I'm not being biased. I'm just saying they are born as minds, mental. It's just that's their problem. They need harnessing. You got to get them into their bodies, maybe. Women have a hell of a tedious duty. Not just mommy who needs to push the man away and say, you know what? I have my life. You need to go find the man's world that is going to view somebody like me and say, I like that, instead of, you're not doing what I want to do. It's like, no, get out of here. I am not a dispensary. Go find the man's world. That's real. But a lot of women don't know that, and they're going to create an emotionally incestual situation with their little boy, especially if they dealt with a narcissist who is their sperm donor, who is not emotionally available or any kind of available, no presence. So eventually she gets away from him, or it's a break off, it's a cut off, whether they're there or not, and she needs support in all kinds of ways, especially emotional. And it's like, there's the little boy. She can't let go of that. You see it everywhere, and it's like, some people think it's like, is that person bawling her own son? Yes, and it might not be physical. It's worse than that. Like, it's more like incestual. It's called emotional incest. Boy, this conversation. I was trying to talk about love, Libra, and the way that we have to work to make music, to make beauty, the things that we enjoy, pleasure. We have to, we know that we do it through the skill of playing music, and it requires notes. But we know that we are doing the joy of love, which interacts with the entire universe, who says there's an unlimited capacity to get the notes into us in such a way that is harmonious. Not only that, but there's just an unlimited field of notes to pull from. It's there, and it's so joyous. Talk about joy. And next, we will describe why do we fashion the words "in joy we trust." It's because if we hang on to that joy, the feeling, and put a dime on it and say, no, this is what we work for, or we sit down and we cry like babies. And we can't live anything else but like babies, because how do we make sense out of this? But now you're going to incubate. They incubate the society to be sick little babies. And even though they're doing it and working it, it's not working, and they can't do it. It's always a complaint. They're reduced down, and Have you noticed the delete, delete, delete possibility? I do. Me is just becoming a rare jewel. Why? Because I actually carried on some kind of train of thought for 30 minutes, and not that it was any use for anybody, but really, maybe it was. And also, let's point back at the novelty that the human being is when they have all of their perception hooked in and they know that the universe is theirs and how different Christmas and the seasons would look. We're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway, but it's been harnessed and hijacked, and it has been fashioned into such a noise that misses the point of being here on the planet, like say who we are, and also feeling, getting back to feeling, and it's a feeling of bliss when you go through these disciplines, the discipline it takes to get to that point where we're able to dream in March, dream of the next year, because everything is just a year old, it seems. Now, in March, it's not even born yet. In April, it becomes born that when you threw those seeds, those dreams out, and you threw it into the snow, you're testing your faith right there, 100%. Pisces is related to the mysticism, the deepest mysticism about, your faith in God. What is it? Well, that's a word. We can tell it. We can call it the truth. Other people are doing fantasy out there. There's the sun in the sky that was thought to have died. For 3 days. It kind of goes away, and then it starts to rise. And when it does, we celebrate, because that life is coming. It's eternal, and it has to do with the seed. The seed is usually circular, but it's involved in a circular thing, which is recycling forever. If you have one seed and you can plant it and you can get a tree going, you have infinite life right there. Put a dime on that. I'm ending this at 3333. And I'm posting this. It's December 7th now, but I think I'll post it on December 23rd, right before the sun rises, and everybody is just running around with their head cut off. It's just frantic, and you know what? It's supposed to be as quiet as I hear it right now, which is it's 5 in the morning. It's pretty quiet. I don't know. I've been reducing down the outer noise. I know how to live in the city, and it's terrible because that noise is here, and it's like, all right. And I was already told by my guides, Shauna, you have to go in farther now. You have to go in deeper into your inner sanctuary. Create that silence in you. Access that silence in you. You've already known it. You've been doing it. It's time to just progress and be the master you are. Happy, happy, joy, joy.